For today's DIY, I'll be recreating this end table and I'll be using mostly Dollar Tree items. But before we get started, if you're watching from Facebook and you'd love to give me a thumbs up, please click the three dots on the top right corner of your mobile device and then select Open in YouTube. And from there you can give me a thumbs up, or you can subscribe, or you can leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you guys. I'll be using 2 plastic bins and I'll just cut the handles off. And to give the table some height, I'll cut cardboard to add 3 inches. So I'll be measuring from the base because that will be the center of the table. And then I'll just use my school glue to attach each one. And then I'm going to measure 2 pieces to go on the inside so it can keep the plastic bins firm. So I'll just measure it and then I'll cut the excess off. Then I'll just use my hot glue to hold them in place. After a couple hours, when the cardboard pieces were dry, I then glued everything together and I used my E6000 along with my hot glue. And I'll be using this 3/8 poly rope. The Dollar Tree sells poly rope and I didn't get this one from them, but the Dollar Tree do sell poly ropes. To make sure the rope stays straight, I'm going to use my yardstick to mark the lines. Then I'm just going to attach the rope with my hot glue. So because of the shape of the buckets, the rope have to be closer at the center and then they have to have a little space at the end. So I'm just measuring the rope and I'm pre-cutting them. So I attach the rope to each line, and once I was done with that, then I fill in the gaps. And while you're watching, I'll really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps YouTube algorithm to recognize me, and it will help to grow my channel so I can produce even more tutorials weekly. And if you're new here and you would like to see my weekly tutorials, please subscribe and select the post notifications so you will be notified the moment I upload a new video. So at this point I ran out of my rope and I had 2 bundles of rope. So I then took everything off and redid the whole thing. I should have done this in the first place because the rope was very hard to cut. So I'm just separating each piece into 3. So now you can see it doesn't have a smooth finish, it's more wavy, but this is because I did not buy the correct size. A 1/4 inch thick would be a great size to use for this project. So now I'm going to add the rim going around the table. And I'll be using chopping mats from the Dollar Tree, and I'll cut them into 1-inch strips. So I'm just going to speed up this part because I ended up taking it off at the end, and you'll see what I did when I get there. So to go around the center and to make my tassel, I use this clothesline. And the reason why I use a clothesline is because it's more flexible. So I just cut 4 pieces and I'm going to tie a knot, and then I just twist them around. So I'm just using my hot glue as a third hand. I glue it in place where I want it, and then I cut the excess off. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other end. But before I glue them down, I need to place 4 small pieces so I can make my tassel. So I'll be adding 4 pieces, about 5 inches each, and then I'll glue the rope in the center and fold it over so it can hide the seam. So I'm just going to use a few strings of the yellow rope to tie the tassel. So I'm going to make a small loop, and then I wrap the longer end. And when I'm done wrapping, I'll just put that end that I was wrapping in the loop, and then I'll pull the string from the end of the loop to create the knot. And then I'll just cut the excess off. So to save me some spray paint, because I know this is going to eat up a lot of my spray paint, I'm just using some of my acrylic brown paint to saturate the rope, and I'll be doing that all over. So I did 1 coat, and then for the second coat I added water. I left it overnight to dry, and then I used 2 separate spray paint. I used a champagne bronze first, and then I went over it with 1 coat of my gold spray paint. So while that's drying, I'm going to be preparing my top, and I have a piece of plexiglass that I picked up from the recycle bin, and I'm just going to measure the top and cut a piece out of it. And on the back side of it, I'm going to paint it black with my black acrylic paint, and the black spray paint would work better for this. And you can get plexiglass to buy for $2.99 for 16-inch, I think. Oh, and the top of the table will be 12 inches. And you can also use a pizza pan. That's exactly 12 inches also. You could use a pizza pan, and if you wanted to have the same color like this, you could use epoxy and add some dye to get the same effect. Or if you want plain glass, you could get a 12-inch glass from Michael's for $4.99. I didn't like that raw edge, so I'm just going to take the chopping mat off, and I'm going to cut different pieces and spray paint them. And then I'm going to add my brown spray paint to it to give it the effect just as the one that's in the photo. And this time I'm just going to add it directly to my tabletop. And it will take 3 pieces of the chopping mat. So I won't overlap it, I'll join it directly at the seam, and then I'll just connect it with a little hot glue. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you didn't subscribe as yet. And please remember to turn your bell notifications on so you'll get notified next week when I upload my new video. Please click on the screen to continue watching more of my videos.